But Haley Dolcini, her competitive fire, and just the way she's taken the reins in the circle is why Texas has had so much success lately.
And we are underway here in Austin. Dolcini going up against the highest scoring offense in the nation, Oklahoma, averaging nearly 10 runs per game so far this year.
Oklahoma's going to put up the offensive numbers. The big key, as Coach White talked to us about, is for Texas to limit how many runs score at one time. He knows they're going to score, but he wants the crooked numbers to be as minimal as possible.
Tiare Jennings leading off, the sophomore from San Pedro, California. Last year was the National Freshman of the Year. A season ago, hit 27 home runs. That was 3 shy of the NCAA freshman record. This year for an encore, hitting .412 with 16 home runs. Dolcini, the senior transfer with the 0-2. Texas comes into this one 30-10-1 on the year, 4-7 against ranked teams according to the ESPN polls. They have had to rally in their last 4 games to come up victorious. Kat, as you mentioned, Mike White talked to us this week about not letting that happen against a team like Oklahoma. Texas, in their last game, fell behind 2-0 in the first inning. In the series finale, the game before that against Iowa State, 1-0 in the first. And a couple games before that, 3-0 in the first inning. He said the pitchers for Texas, the starters, have to trust their stuff early, right from the get-go.
Yeah, Coach White wanting his pitchers to be able to make a statement, and it truly does. You win and lose ball games in the circle, and the momentum, it shifts because of what happens in the circle. So Coach White talking this week to his pitchers about being able to set that tone early, not go into the first inning to figure out what your game plan is, be able to execute it.
That one right between the legs of the freshman Mia Scott. And the leadoff hitter is aboard for Oklahoma for Texas. This has been a reoccurring problem all year. This will be their 50th error of the season.
That type of play right there to set the tone of this game cannot happen. Haley Dolcini battles, gets a ground ball. Mia Scott has to be able to step up in this situation as a freshman right now.
And saying this is a dangerous hitter would be an understatement. The all-time NCAA home run queen, Jocelyn Alo, launches one foul, sitting on 109 career homers. And really, ever since breaking that record in Hawaii earlier this year, Patty Gasso said, it's been like a weight has been lifted off of Alo's shoulders. The pressure has just melted away, and she's gone yard 13 times in her last 15 games.
Well, anytime a record is sitting there waiting to be broken, it's kind of like a monkey on your back. And Jocelyn Alo ran into the unfortunate situation. No one wanted to pitch to her. She was being intentionally walked because no one wanted to be the pitcher that was going to be the home run record-breaking pitcher. But again, once the record's broken, now it's like, go write a whole new chapter after that.
21 this year after hitting 34 a season ago. Awaits the 1-2 from Haley Dolcini with a runner on first. Oklahoma has dominated this series as of late, winning the last 21 contests against Texas. The Horns haven't won a game against OU since 2014. Swing and a miss, and a big strikeout for Haley Dolcini.
Haley Dolcini setting the tone, getting ahead of both these Oklahoma hitters so far and stretching it with this rise ball. She noticed Jocelyn Alo was going up, fouling balls up there. She stretched it up just a little bit more. Big first out for Dolcini and the Longhorns.
More than 700 strikeouts in her career. Records the first out of the game. Here's Kinsey Hansen, the junior from Norco, California. Second team All-American who's starting to get back in a rhythm after suffering a bone bruise in her knee earlier in the year. Missed the Hawaii series, but all of a sudden has gotten hot as of late. Home runs in her last 2 games coming into this one. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Dolcini aggressive to start.
The mindset that Dolcini is going to have tonight is the fact that Oklahoma is going to be aggressive. They're going to take hard hacks. They're going to foul balls off hard, as we've already seen. Haley Dolcini has to chalk those up as that's strikes for me. That's an advantage for me, and continue to chip away as she has so far. But right now, showing no fear going at these hitters in this first inning.
1-2. Dolcini now in her 5th year. This is the first time she has ever faced Oklahoma.
And when you talk to Haley Dolcini about transferring from Fresno State, it's games like this. She wanted to be able to pitch in an environment like this for her last season.
One fought off by Hansen. We talked about that environment with both teams. And listen, Oklahoma hasn't been here in Austin since 2019. So this is a new environment for a lot of these Sooner players. Patty Gasso said they're going to have to get used to that. She's had the older players talk to the younger ones about what that environment is going to be like. This is the first time in history OU's playing this series with bleachers out in right field in Austin. As this one chopped to Dolcini. 2-away. 3 straight sellouts on tap here this weekend. And Dolcini and the Longhorns trying to get out of the top half of the inning scoreless. Here is Grace Lyons coming up to bat, the All-American shortstop from Arizona. The reigning Big 12 Player of the Week. All she's done in the past week is hit .600 with 4 home runs. Dolcini comes right at her. If you're an opposing pitcher, there's just no breathing room in this lineup from top to bottom.
No, there's no breathing room. And in fact, you talk about Hansen getting back in the groove after being injured. Coach Patty Gasso talks about, well, Lyons has found her power game now. Numbers wise, she probably had power game comparatively, but not necessarily in this lineup.
For Haley Dolcini, she has only thrown 2 balls so far and 17 strikes.
Haley Dolcini doing a good job of what we call pounding the zone. She's not afraid to pound that inside corner right now. You see Grace Lyons has now backed off the plate a little bit to give herself some space. Dolcini gonna have to adjust.
0-2, drilled foul. This Oklahoma team has not lost in 310 days. They are approaching the all-time winning streak of 47 held by Arizona. Now keep in mind that was in 2 different seasons, the end of '96 into the beginning of '97. Oh, back up the middle. Washington can't get to it, and Oklahoma will grab the 1-0 lead here in the top of the first inning. This is what Mike White was worried about, giving up runs in the first inning, and Grace Lyons drives home the first run of the game.
Yeah, this is what Mike White was concerned about, but at the same time, his pitcher is not setting the tone of giving up runs. She's attacking the zone. That was a good outside pitch, placed well by Grace Lyons up the middle. My question, Alex, would be on the ground out to Haley Dolcini off Kinsey Hansen's bat. Could Haley Dolcini got the lead out at second to not have a runner in scoring position?
That's a good point. Got the shore out at first. The inning continues. Runner on first for Taylon Snow. Another Sooner having a career year at the plate, hitting .464. A dribbler. Jefferson has to hurry. Scoops it up onto first in time. Magnificent freshman Jordy Ball, 15-0 on the season. Patty Gasso calls her the most emotionally, physically, and mentally prepared freshman she has ever seen.
Jordy Ball is a physical specimen. She throws mid to upper 60s. You'll see a rise drop split. She has a changeup. The biggest thing is, as a freshman, she plays big. She has a big presence. You'll see her stalk around the mound, and we'll talk about Coach Gasso's description of that later. But Jordy Ball takes control of the game, which is a big thing for a freshman to be able to do.
Facing the grizzled veteran for Texas, Janae Jefferson, the three-time All-American. The Longhorns coming to this one top 3 in the nation in total hits and doubles, Kat.
Texas's offense has been carrying them. We talk about the 12 come from behind wins or ties, but their offense has been the reason for that. They've been down quite a bit. They punch back, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get to OU's pitching staff.
Janae Jefferson 7 hits away from tying the Big 12 record, 8 from breaking it, and 3 hits away from tying former Oklahoma Sooner Norrell Dixon for second on that list. John's over at third playing in. 1-1. Jefferson did homer against the Sooners last year in Game 2 of that series. Oklahoma run-ruled Texas in every game of that 3-game set a year ago in Norman. Two.
See Jordy Ball wanting that strike called, using that drop ball on the chalk line of the batter's box, trying to stretch the plate. Janae Jefferson, as you mentioned, a veteran player, she's going to stay well within her strike zone for the most part.
Chop back to ball, and Jefferson is retired. Well, Jocelyn Alo tried to warn the rest of the country. Even before the season began, Alo said, she's one of the best pitchers I have ever seen, and so far, Ball has lived up to the hype.
Yeah, Jordy Ball has come in as a freshman and made a name for herself, and some of it is her presence. You watch her stalk around on the mound, you see her constantly in motion. That's how she plays, very big and loud, but she backs it up with her game.
Facing the freshman, Mia Scott. Mia Scott was in elementary school the last time Texas beat Oklahoma. Off to a stellar start. Her Longhorns career hitting .374, third best on the team. Went around, strike 2.
There you see the rise ball. We haven't seen it out of Jordy Ball yet. She didn't show it to Janae Jefferson, but goes with a high drop for strike 1. Splits the plane, raises Mia Scott's eyes, and now she's well ahead of Scott in this at-bat.
Ball with 138 strikeouts so far on the year. Make it 139, 2 away.
Jordy Ball uses her rise ball, gets Mia Scott kind of guess swinging. She had set that up with the drop ball before that. Then she uses a rise ball again. This part more out of the zone to the outside corner. Mia Scott unable to lay off the high pitch.
2 away from Mary Iacopo, a week removed from earning her first Big 12 Player of the Week honors. And that one hits her. For Jordy Ball, that is the 7th hit batter of the season, tied for most on the Sooners. Well, you don't get many breaks against a team like Oklahoma. For Texas, they will try and take advantage with a runner on first, 2 away, and the cleanup hitter, Mackenzie Parker, coming up to bat.
This is a break for Texas, able to get a base runner in the first inning. Texas going to have to try to put some balls in play hard, though, which means they're going to have to be aggressive early in the count against Jordy Ball.
Parker having a career year, sitting on 98 hits during her Texas career. Driven in 32 runs on the season. That is second most on the team. Swing and a miss, strike one.
Big adjustment for Texas right now is going to be catching up to Jordy Ball's speed. She hasn't even shown her off speed yet in the first 4 hitters of this game. And Texas unable to put a ball and play hard so far.
Another swing and a miss. Oklahoma is riding a 29-inning shutout streak. Shutouts in their last 5 games. And they've held opponents to 1 run or less in 32 of their 36 games on the entire season. Kinsey Hansen pulls that one down. Hansen back behind the dish for the Sooners, as we said earlier, after shaking off an injury a few weeks ago.
Jordy Ball trying to go up in the zone, just a little bit out of reach. Well, shouldn't say out of reach, not out of reach for a 6-foot catcher like Hansen.
The 2-2 with 2 away.
Good job by Mackenzie Parker. Not chasing the up, also not chasing that drop ball there, down in the dirt. The deeper Texas can get in the count, the better they can get their timing as this game continues.
Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. And an inning-ending strikeout. Jordy Ball strikes out 2. Since 2014, what does Texas need to do to climb back into that race and be competitive now with Mike White at the helm?
Well, you know, I think Coach White is slowly but surely being able to recruit athletes that are going to come in here and compete. You talk about, we've talked off air, Alex Mia Scott could be freshman of the year in almost any conference. She's going to go up against Jordy Ball in the Big 12, however. But being able to recruit those athletes, get some dominant pitching back here on the 40 acres. Texas used to be known as a pitching school.
Jada Coleman takes that one deep off the top of the wall and out. 2-0 Sooners. They are averaging nearly 10 runs per game, and OU flexing their offensive muscles early here in Austin.
This pitch on outer half, but just too good, especially against a team like OU who has power, who is aggressive in the strike zone. They're not going to get cheated, and Jada Coleman takes that dead straightaway center field.
For Jada Coleman, that's her 6th home run of the year for Oklahoma. That is home run number 101 on the season. Here's Jana Johns coming up to bat. The Sooners now with 2 hits. RBI single from Grace Lyons. And a solo blast moments ago by Jada Coleman. Well, if there is one weakness to Haley Dolcini's game, it is the long ball. She has now given up 13 home runs on the season.
Yeah, when you're an up ball pitcher, a lot of times that screwball, that rise ball can get hit out hard. So Haley Dolcini gonna have to make the adjustment to where that gets in on OU's hands, able to extend the zone other ways. But we've seen already, OU takes their hacks. They're not gonna get cheated when they swing.
Jana Johns, meanwhile, is in her 2nd year with the Sooners after spending her first 3 seasons with South Carolina, where she was an all-SEC third baseman. Count even up at 2. She did go yard against Texas last year in that series finale. Oklahoma is on pace to at least match, if not break, their home run record from a year ago. Offensive numbers are better than last year. Their pitching stats are far better than a season ago. This one chopped over to Washington. And there's the first out of the frame. Oklahoma now over their last 6 contests, outscoring opponents 56-0. Video game-like numbers. 2 runs off 2 hits so far in this one. Here is Riley Boone coming up to bat the junior from Owasso, Oklahoma. Boone, a player who has patiently waited for her turn to become a full-time starter, and that patience has paid off this year. Came into the game hitting .477, second best on a team that is just loaded with offense.
Boone going to be a different look on that left side. You saw Jada Coleman leave the yard. Boone, on the other hand, triple threat, a little bit more small ball, uses her speed. Does have one home run on the year, but you're not going to see her flex power as much as you do the rest of the lineup.
To 1, she leads all Big 12 hitters in the entire conference. In conference play, she's hitting .778. It's overlooked at times in this lineup with all the other big names surrounding her. She's put together a heck of a year. Started just 9 games last year, but came off the bench in nearly every one of them. And her freshman campaign back in 2020, Boone suffered a season-ending knee injury just 4 games into her career. She's back and fully healthy this year. Oklahoma making Dolcini throw a lot of pitches so far, 35 through just an inning and a third.
Well, you know that Oklahoma has been watching film on Dolcini and Texas pitchers all week. So they're prepared for what Dolcini throws at them, and they're able to continue to fight off balls.
2 away, Scott is there. Haley Dolcini, but an absolute horse in the circle for Texas as of late, through 234 pitches in that Iowa State series. In fact, if you look at her last 5 outings coming into this one, she had thrown 450 pitches in her last 5 appearances.
We've talked about her emerging as the ace for Texas, and there's no secret, there's no way to hide that or even sugarcoat it. She's having to be the arm that comes in and gets the W's for Texas. That Iowa State series, she actually got pulled and then came back in to close the game. But something she said she's used to, because she did that at Fresno State.
Fools Elisa Brito there. Brito, the transfer from Oregon, former Mike White recruit with the Ducks, and all Pac-12 shortstop a season ago. But this year with Oklahoma has moved to the outfield. And going to start in left field tonight.
Now, when you're transferring to Oklahoma and they have Grace Lyons and Tiare Jennings, there's not a place in the infield for you.
Good luck finding a spot if she stays alive. Oklahoma taking advantage of the transfer portal, bringing in the likes of Brito and Hope Trotwine as well in the circle, who we will see this weekend. Meanwhile, the transfer for Texas trying to end the inning, Haley Dolcini, but Brito fights off another. Dolcini does lead the conference in strikeouts looking.
Yeah, Dolcini uses that screw rise combo, so sometimes a hitter can be expecting the ball to continue to float up, and she'll freeze them with that screwball.
Brito gets a piece of that. Jefferson has to hurry. And again, it's Janae Jefferson. This series history in right field. Texas trying to respond down 2-0. Katie Simic, the freshman, leading off the bottom of the second. The attendance records heading into this one. Hey, Texas, 2 of the top 3 attendance numbers came in that recent series against Iowa State. That's when they first put the bleachers up.
Now, those bleachers were added 2 weeks ago, so Texas able to hold approximately 300 more fans.
And wait till Saturday. I mean, that is the big moment coming up. You're having your number retired. They're going to be celebrating your birthday here at McCombs Field. Just the festivities will be endless.
It's a party for everybody.
Katie Simic trying to get the fans going here, providing some offense. But nothing doing against Jordy Ball, who's now struck out 2 in a row and 3 on the night.
Jordy Ball doing a good job of exploiting what's working. Katie Simmons chases the rise ball for strike 2. She goes straight back up there. Texas going to have to make an adjustment and focus lower in the zone if they're going to have any success against the freshman tonight.
Ball has only allowed more than 1 earned run once so far in her career. To Tennessee earlier this season. Here's Alyssa Washington in the 6th spot. Alyssa Washington, a team has turned around ever since she became the everyday shortstop. The Longhorns are 25-3-1. So works to count 3-0.
Alyssa Washington just really been an anchor at shortstop, allowing the Texas defense to relax just a little bit. Has made some great plays, has better range there at shortstop, so has definitely been a bright spot on the defensive side for the Longhorns.
There is strike 1 from Ball. She's the consensus #1 player in the nation coming out of high school. Her final 2 years of high school, Nebraska, went 54-0, 615 strikeouts, and in 2 years allowed just 5 earned runs total. Washington tries to fight that one off, but right to Snow, 2 away. Just a tremendous player, also a winner, won 2 state titles her final 2 years of high school, Gatorade National Player of the Year. But you put aside all the stats, and Patty Gasso said you just don't see freshmen come in this emotionally and mentally mature and prepared for each and every start.
Yeah, she talks about Ball and how regimented she is with her days, her workouts, making sure that she's up and homework's done so she has time later on to go to the training room if she needs. Just being able to be regimented and time conscious as a freshman is something new.
But there is the first hit of the day given up by Ball. It's Courtney Day with a single with 2 outs here in the 2nd.
Courtney Day attacking early, a drop ball in, just staying down through it, not trying to do too much. Hard ground ball in the 5-6 hole. Texas, if they're going to get back into it, is going to have to chip away a little bit at a time. You cannot expect the long ball off of OU's pitching staff. Texas getting a little bit of life off the bat of Courtney Day right now.
And a hot hitter coming up in Bella Dayton, the transfer from Arizona, who's been on a tear over the past few weeks. Dayton in her last 8 games, 10 RBIs, a grand slam, and hitting .333.
Well, if there's one area of Oklahoma that you want to try to exploit, it's going to be defense. They're not as solid this year defensively. Doesn't mean they're still not a great defensive team. But if you're Texas, you're going to have to try to force the defense to make some plays. Bella Dayton, Alyssa Popelka have the speed to do that, but they're going to have to be aggressive with pitches in the zone that they can put on the ground. Yeah,
Oklahoma's only given up 27 runs on the year, but nearly 40% of those runs allowed have been unearned. The 0-2 on the way.
Good adjustment there by Bella Dayton. Chased the rise ball early in the count. Texas going to have to stay below the belt if they're going to make anything happen offensively.
Ball thought she got the call, wanted it. And the home plate umpire, Keith Kearney, did not agree.
This is a great pitcher's pitch. She throws this drop ball, but that is significantly off the plate. That's about chalk line of the other batter's box when you see Hansen catch it. Great pitcher's pitch. Good eye by Bella Dayton. Every pitcher is going to want that to go ahead and be called, but that's a little bit of a stretch.
That one gets away from Kinsey Hansen, and for the first time tonight, Texas with a runner in scoring position. You talk about if there was one weakness, and Patty Gasso told us this. The weakness of this team right now, defense, she wants to see it improved.
Yeah, she wants to see complete games, and she has mentioned that last weekend at Texas Tech, she felt like they probably played the most complete games that they had played, staying focused every pitch on all sides of the ball. But she wants this team to be tested, so that way when they get to postseason, they're ready when the pressure's on. She said that the records and run ruling is great, but it's not really preparing them for what matters most.
The 3-2. Dayton. Jennings over to first in time. First 2 innings. And here is Tiare Jennings leading off the third. She reached on a Mia Scott error and later came around to score in the first. Here's a player in Jennings who was, again, National Freshman of the Year a season ago. But Patty Gasso said earlier this year she was chasing those numbers that she put up last year. Has started to settle down recently and is retired here to begin the third. Jocelyn Alo now coming up to bat after striking out in the first.
Yeah, Haley Dolcini, knowing the power Alo possesses, stayed up in the zone the entire at bat. Alo continuing to foul it off, and Dolcini just climbing the ladder even farther. Texas very aware of the power Alo possesses, not going to give her anything that she can stay through easily.
What yard against the Longhorns last year? Patty Gasso said Jocelyn Alo has the best understanding of any hitter she's ever seen.
You know, Alex, I can attest to that. 2019, when I decided to come out of retirement, went to national team tryouts, and Jocelyn Alo was there, and obviously her reputation precedes her, and Lauren Chamberlain's at the same tryout, which, you know, you have 2 mammoth home run hitters. But being able to face off against Alo, and for me, setting up my pitches the way I thought I could get her out, and then talking to her after that. I had thrown a rise ball that I swore I was going to get her to swing and miss, and I missed probably by an inch, and she was able to foul it off. And later at lunch while we're talking, she goes, "Man, if that rise ball had been an inch higher, you would have had me." I was like, I had you set up, and I totally knew it. But to be able to talk to a sophomore in college like that about an at-bat, and against a veteran pitcher who knows her repertoire really well.
You could just tell she was special.
You could tell she was special, and that her mindset was in a different place. So it's really cool to be able to talk the at-bat through afterwards with her and just see that the mindset's different. And Coach Gasso says that. She obviously has broke Lauren Chamberlain's home run records.
But how about this? Alo, the all-time NCAA home run champion, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Haley Dolcini. The only 2 Ks of the night so far for Dolcini.
Alex, Haley Dolcini leads the Big 12 in Ks looking for a reason. This is a count where they probably assume she's going up in the zone. Instead, she sneaks that screwball in. Jocelyn Alo unable to unleash on that one. Coach Gasso talking about her understanding of hitting. Haley Dolcini keeping her a little bit guessing tonight.
Dolcini has now retired 5 in a row after giving up that home run to Jada Coleman. So a tight ball game here in Austin between these 2 rivals. Here's Kinsey Hansen with 2 away coming up. Do a fielder's choice in the first inning. It's interesting when you look at both the starting pitchers tonight and really the 3 main pitchers for Texas coming into this series have never faced the opposing team. Dolcini, Check, and Simpson. The main pitchers for Texas have never faced the Sooners. And conversely, Jordy Ball for Oklahoma in her first ever outing against Texas. There's a swing and a miss by Hansen.
And that unfamiliarity probably is in favor of Dolcini right now. OU not being super familiar with her. Everything that they've watched has been against other opponents, not their own swings on her.
Hansen struggled against Texas last year, went 1 for 9.
You know, we talk about Jordy Ball being a physical specimen, Alex. Kinsey Hansen behind the plate, that is a very built catcher. She's 6 feet tall.
That one got a piece of her. some discussion taking place here.
That should be a dead ball strike, I would think. Well, no, because that would mean she'd strike out, so I guess dead ball. This pitch is not in the batter's box, which is what, but she swings at it as it hits her. Although the home plate umpire did not make a motion of strike or ball. He is bringing her back, though, not awarding her first base.
They're calling that a foul ball. So Hansen gets another opportunity. And the count evened up at 2.
Dolcini already at 50 pitches. Gonna see her pitch count rise tonight as Oklahoma continues to chip away, foul a lot of balls off. Dolcini gonna have to continue just to battle pitch by pitch.
They continue to foul pitches off against Dolcini. Oklahoma ranked #1 in the nation now for 58 consecutive weeks. But in a battle here, in a lot of their games, the contest has been over by the 3rd inning. And they do have 30 run rule victories. But it's just a 2-run game.
Dolcini doing a good job. Continuing to hammer her bread and butter, which is the inside half, but we've seen her show the outer half, stretch the plate up. Haven't seen a lot of off speed yet, but not a pitch that's really her forte. Might be something they show later in this game or even later in the series. But Coach White gonna try to get all he can out of Dolcini right now and see how close they can keep this game and see if they can possibly pull out a W.
Hansen back up the middle, Washington, and that one eats her up. That'll be Texas's 2nd error of the night. And for the Longhorns, that is their 16th multiple error game of the season.
Dolcini does a good job stretching the plate, getting Hansen to reach, but Washington unable to come up with this ball. It rolls up on her after the 3rd hop. Texas cannot extend innings for Oklahoma if they're going to stay in this ball game.
Here is Grace Lyons, the All-American shortstop, who drove in the first run of the game with a single in the 1st inning. Lyons having a career year at the plate, 17 home runs. She hit 27 in her first 3 years combined, but has absolutely taken off at the plate this season, batting nearly .450 as well.
Coach Gasso just saying how comfortable she is at the plate, that no opportunity has phased her as a senior, really just being able to settle in. And with that, we mentioned in her first at bat, the power game has come into play for her.
She had 5 hits against Texas last year and 1 already tonight in the opener. Two-one. Dolcini approaching pitch number 60 on the night, and Mike White will head out to the circle to talk things over.
Dolcini starting to miss a little bit down in the zone, so Coach White probably taking a couple seconds, give her a little time to catch her breath. 60 pitches this early in the game is a lot, but he also knows he needs her to be able to stay in this game to give them their best chance to win right now. He also may have seen something mechanically that he just wants to put in her radar, make sure she stays focusing, whether it's a wrist snap or leg drive or something like that.
She's only given up 2 hits on the night, but one of them was a home run. And one of those 2 runs allowed unearned. Lyons set in the batter's box, ready to go. The 2-1 from Dolcini. 2-2.
That pitch right there is going to be key as Haley Dolcini can sneak that curveball in at the opportune times against these Sooners. They like to get extended, but they're going to be looking on the inner half because that is her bread and butter.
Lyons reaches for that one. Iakopo and Simic meeting up, and it's the freshman Katie Simic with the grab. Boy, in this magical season she's been on, starting off her career 15-0, as she gets ready to face the 9-1-2 hitters in the Texas lineup. Alyssa Popelka leading off. Popelka has been arguably the hottest hitter at the plate for Texas as of late, coming off 6 straight multi-hit games. Popelka batting .722 over her last 6 contests.
You talk about the Iowa State series. Alex and Alyssa Popelka was the MVP of that series, being able to turn the lineup over continuously. Her and Bella Dayton. Coach White tipping the hat, saying that they were the reason that Texas was able to continue to mount comebacks, because they set the table for then the top of the lineup.
Missed the last game against UT Arlington due to personal reasons, but back in the lineup in her traditional 9 spot for Texas. Unable to get down the bunt. Count goes 1-2. That's been a reoccurring theme at times for Texas this year.
Yeah, Texas is going to make a run, not only in this series, but in the Big 12 as they face Oklahoma State next weekend as well. They're going to have to shore up their small ball. They don't put a lot of pressure on the defense with their bunt game, and that's something they have to add if they're going to continue to chip away against good pitching staffs.
Waves at that one, and for Jordy Bahl, that will be strikeout number 4 on the night.
Jordy Bahl continuing to use her drop ball against Alyssa Popelka. No need to go up in the zone until a hitter makes an adjustment. Popelka not even close to that drop ball outside.
We'll see what adjustments Texas makes. Second time through the order now is Janae Jefferson coming up to bat. So the first time through the order, Bahl struck out 4. Didn't walk a batter and allowed just 1 hit. It's a single by Courtney Day. Janae Jefferson, meanwhile, getting closer and closer to that Big 12 hits record, 7 away from tying the all-time record held by Sammy Williams.
You see Janae Jefferson being aggressive on that first pitch, knowing that Jordy Bahl is attacking the zone. First at bat of the game, she took a couple pitches, allowed Texas to be able to see what Jordy Bahl was throwing today. The senior being a little bit more aggressive. We talk about how underrated she is sometimes, but her media availability this week, Coach Gasso said, we're no stranger to Janae Jefferson. She's one of the best players in the country, so we'll have our eye to see what she's going to do.
Shows some patience there at the plate as the count goes 1-2. And Sammy Williams with 332 career hits. Former Sooner Narelle Dixon now just 3 hits ahead of Janae Jefferson for second. More importantly, Jefferson trying to get her team some runs. Texas trailing 2-0, getting out hit 2-1 at this point. 2 errors by Texas in the field, none so far by Oklahoma. Last time Texas beat Oklahoma, April 18th, 2014, Taylor Thom went 3 for 3 with a home run. Lindsey Stevens reached in her 45th straight game. And Tiara Davis got the complete game shutout. Brings back some memories. I know you had some success against
way back in the archives.
This visiting team as well.
Yes.
A no-hitter possibly?
Did have a no-hitter my last outing against Oklahoma in Norman. Would have been a perfect game, but the aforementioned Narelle Dixon got hit in the knee.
You still remember it like it was yesterday.
I do.
2-2 to Jefferson, swing and a miss. And that is a rarity. The senior does not strike out often, but there's the 5th K of the evening by the freshman, Jordy Bahl.
Janae Jefferson puts up a good fight, but Jordy Bahl able to stretch the plate with that drop ball. That's the sign of a good pitcher, a pitcher that knows how to command the zone, being able to stretch the plate just enough that a hitter thought that was going to be on the corner. Jordy Bahl able to get that hot hitting All-American.
Consecutive strikeouts now by Ball. 2 away from Mia Scott, and that one's snared by Johns over at third. It's a 1-2-3 inning work by Ball and the Sooners. Oklahoma has won the last 21 meetings between these two arch rivals, and the Sooners hold a 48-24 all-time lead. Up 2-0 here as we begin the 4th inning in Austin, now joined by their head coach, Patty Gasso. Coach, I know you've had so many run rule wins, so many blowouts, but this is a close affair here. What do you make of this one through 3 innings?
Absolutely didn't expect to come in here and run rule this team. There's always a battle, always a fight. I think we always make each other better. I'm expecting exactly what this looks like. It's just a hard, 2 great pitchers in the circle and just trying to manufacture runs the best way you can.
And Coach, talking about 2 great pitchers in the circle, you have a freshman that obviously is setting the tone for a great career. What do you like out of Jordy Ball so far in this matchup of this intensity?
Poise and just hammering the zone, trying to stay ahead. Good ball movement, keeping hitters off balance a bit.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank
you. Patty Gasso with a class act in the game, 5 national championships, won 3 of the last 5 Natties, 14 trips to the Women's College World Series. And her team is up 2-0 here as we begin the 4th inning. Taylon Snow in the 5 spot, getting ready to lead off. Snow grounded out to end the 1st inning. Oklahoma with just 2 hits so far off Haley Dolcini, a home run and a run-scoring single.
Yeah, well, Haley Dolcini's pitch count is high. She has done a very good job attacking the strike zone, being able to continue to attack even though Oklahoma fouls off some pitches. She really has not given in so far tonight.
Her high on the season for pitches was about 150 earlier this year. So they have certainly no problem letting her work deep into games, as she is now up to 63. Number 64 means a 3-0 count to the leadoff hitter, Taylon Snow, who last year went 3 for 3 against the Longhorns in Game 2 of their series. And is hitting .457 on the season. The bulk of this starting lineup hitting above 400 on the year for Oklahoma.
Taylon Snow, a triple threat that's mainly going to swing away, but working the first 3-ball count off of Haley Dolcini tonight. Dolcini going to have to work through some tiredness as she gets deeper in this game.
Washington shallow in the outfield for the first out. Well, this is the last Sooner to come up with a hit against Haley Dolcini. This was the first batter of the 2nd inning. Jada Coleman, the All-American, reaching for the 20th straight game and putting Oklahoma up 2-0.
That ball left over the plate, and Jada Coleman made Haley Dolcini pay for it. Dolcini going to have to be a little bit more careful.
Coleman, the Texas native, the sophomore, received her first offer as a 6th grader from Texas A&M back when she was in middle school.
Jada Coleman was highly recruited. Everyone was watching her. What a lot of people don't know, she is purely left-handed. She was a left-handed shortstop.
Texas records the 2nd out there as the lefty Coleman is retired. 2 away. Longhorns looking for their first 1-2-3 inning. Oklahoma scored 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd. And they had 1 batter reach on an error in the 3rd. Here's Jana Johns. This is the type of inning Dolcini needed, throwing a lot of pitches, looking to make quick work of the Sooners. You and I were talking before the game, it would be interesting to see how Texas reacted facing a potent team like this, a history-making team like this. How would they react if they fell behind early? But I'm also interested to see how Oklahoma reacts being in such a tight ball game. You heard Patty Gasso say we didn't expect a run rule. While that is true, they haven't been tested too often this year.
They've only had 6 7-inning games so far this year. two of those, one against Utah, one against Tennessee. Utah was a 2-1 game. Tennessee, I think, ended up being 9-7, so it became a slugfest. So Oklahoma hasn't been tested for a full 7 innings too often. But again, the respect level from Patty Gasso and this Oklahoma program, knowing what Coach White and his staff are trying to build and just knowing what they are capable of doing, you know, she tips her hat. She doesn't expect to come in here and play 15 innings this weekend and go home.
13-time Big 12 Coach of the Year, Patty Gasso, including the last 9 in a row. 0-2 coming up from Dolcini. This one again lifted the shallow part of left center, and Washington is there. And Simmons against Jordy Bahl. Texas with 1 hit so far against the freshman. No walks and 5 strikeouts. Kat, there's no better person to ask than you. What do you make of Bahl so far in the circle?
Well, Coach Gasso hit on it. Jordy Bahl has poise. She has confidence. She's out there pitching her game, keeping her tempo. But the more impressive part is just the way she's able to attack the strike zone and then try to stretch the strike zone. We've seen her not get a couple calls that she would like, but the fact that she's able to execute those pitches so close to the zone to where she thinks she should get them, that's a sign of a pitcher who really knows her own stuff. And then I'm going to go to what Coach White just said. She hasn't even shown her off speed yet. So she's really being able to dominate this game going up and down right now.
She's allowed only 2 batters to reach. Ikopo was one of them. Got hit by a ball pitch in the first inning. Jennings calls for it. 1 away. Now 5 straight retired by Bahl.
Designated player number 9, Mackenzie Parker.
I think if I'm Texas right now, the message would be, let's look for the drop ball, try to hit hard ground balls. Don't try to lift it. It's not something that's going to happen quite often. But just like Courtney Day did, try to stay down through it, get a ground ball, force Oklahoma to make some plays, but really lay off the rise ball and force Jordy Bahl to beat you in one part of the zone.
You said to lay off the rise ball, correct?
I did. Sometimes that's easier said than done. There's quite a few hitters that they like the rise ball. They like to swing at it. As a pitcher, when you see that, you also like to throw it.
A 1 on the way to Parker. Parker was a strikeout victim to end the first inning. Now hitless in her last 3 games. Mackenzie Parker, about a week and a half removed from seeing her streak of 22 consecutive games reaching base safely come to an end. That was tied for the 8th longest streak in Texas history. Pokes one to third, right to the glove of Jenna Johns.
Well, this is out number 2. This can give Texas a little bit of life in the fact that Mackenzie Parker was able to take a low outside pitch down that line hard. That's the adjustment Texas is going to need to make if they're going to make some things happen here against the Sooners.
Here is Katie Simmons, the freshman, with 2 outs. Was a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. Simmons came up with her first multi-hit game since returning from a recent hand injury. She went 2 for 3 against UT Arlington, a couple of RBIs, and just had a strong freshman campaign. Tied for the 2nd most home runs on the team this year with 7. Ropes one foul.
Jordy Bahl continuing to pound the strike zone. We talk about how potent Oklahoma's pitching staff is. A lot of times when you pitch with a 6, 7, 8 run lead, it's a lot. You can pitch a little bit freer. This situation, little tighter of a ball game. She's going to have to be a little bit more fine-tuned, but still able to just control the zone really well.
This misses 2-1.
That was a really pretty pitch. As a drop ball pitcher, that was a very pretty pitch.
I have to be honest, I'm impressed how impressed you are by ball. That speaks volumes.
Might be slightly biased as I was a rise ball, drop ball pitcher too, had a little bit of a curve, but to be able to see that split is truly, it's remarkable in the fact that a freshman possesses that much movement both ways this early in her career, and the confidence and poise that she's showing. So I might be geeking out a little bit watching
I
this
can tell.
performance.
143 strikeouts to start her career with Oklahoma this year, compared to just 18 walks so far. Hitters count though for Simmons. And we go full.
It's a great challenge pitch going up in the zone by Jordy Bahl with her rise ball. She challenged Texas. Texas, instead of being patient, staying down in the zone, forcing her to bring a drop ball up, chases that and actually swings the momentum into Jordy Bahl's favor with that pitch.
Freshman battle continues. You can see the confidence, the swagger out there with Bahl. Patty Gasso said she actually likes the tougher situations more. In her words, she said it's almost like Bahl is begging for a challenge out there. She loves to be tested.
She did. She talked about how in practice when they square off, her and Alo, it's a knockdown, drag out, competitive fight on who's going to actually win that day, that they both live for those moments.
And Bahl getting the best of Simmons in that moment to end the fourth inning. Again, the fifth inning. The 8, 9, and 1 hitters for Oklahoma, led off by Riley Boone.
Haley Dolcini starting this inning off, missing that screwball just a little bit. Going back out to work for the fifth inning, trying to keep this game close for Texas.
That one caught a fan over there, I believe. Trying to duck out of the way. It's a packed house, standing room only.
Sun still setting down in the eyes of those that are in the right field corner.
You take a look at this performance by Dolcini. Keep in mind this offense she's facing was averaging 9.8 runs per game. Nobody else in the nation even averaging 7. Excuse me, more than 8. And Washington retired. That's now 11 straight batters Dolcini has gone without giving up a hit.
Haley Dolcini's doing a good job of keeping Oklahoma guessing. She throws a lot of screwball, but she's been spotting that rise ball in there and actually been working a lot of her curve at the appropriate times to when Oklahoma probably expects her to go more screwball. So really trusting her spin, allowing the ball to spin, and creating quite a few fly balls for the Longhorn defense to settle under.
5 straight retired by Dolcini and the Horns. Here's Alyssa Brito in the 9th spot. So Oklahoma got an RBI single in the first inning from Grace Lyons. 2 batters later, a home run from Jada Coleman, and that is it for the most potent offense in the nation so far. This one, however, launched to deep left field off the bat of Brito. And that is gone. Elisa Brito with the Sooners' second home run of the night. Make it 3-0 Oklahoma.
Alyssa Brito stays with this rise ball. Not quite inside enough when you're ahead in the count, but Oklahoma expecting a lot of arm side from Haley Dolcini. She parks that into left field, extends the lead, 3-0 for the Sooners.
It's 102 home runs on the season now for Oklahoma. They only have 3 hits tonight, but 2 of them have left the yard. Here's Tiare Jennings, strike 1 from Dolcini. Jennings reached on an error in the first, popped up in the third.
Dolcini is susceptible to the long ball. Again, we talk about her spin. It does spin up, which allows a hitter to be able to lift it a little bit easier. However, if you don't stay through it, you also get the pop-ups that we've seen Alyssa Washington and Alyssa Popelka be settling under. But that pitch just a little predictable right there to Alyssa Brito.
She's given up 14 home runs on the season now. Courtney Day is there for the out, 2 away. So 1 run in the first by Oklahoma, another in the second, 1 in the 5th. Starting to extend that lead against Texas. Here is Jocelyn Alo. What a bizarre night for the superstar from Oklahoma. 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Those are the only 2 strikeouts of the evening by Haley Dolcini.
Yeah, Dolcini really stepping up her game when Jocelyn Alo's in the box right now. But she has done a really good job of staying tight to Alo, not allowing Alo to get extended at all. If she has gotten a piece of it, it's been up in the zone. So Dolcini being able to stretch the zone and then just get her freezing on that screwball.
Sitting on 21 home runs on the season. Chops 1 off the glove of Washington. Well, that left side of the infield has had their struggles tonight defensively for Texas.
And if you're Haley Dolcini, aside from a strikeout, if you can get Jocelyn Alo to hit a ball on the ground, that's what you want. Texas infield just looks like they're not ready for the exit velocity that's coming off of Oklahoma's bat. You know anything they put in play is going to be hard. You have to be able to make those plays and not extend the inning. You don't want more pitches on your pitcher's arm against an offense like this.
3rd error of the night for Texas. That is the Longhorns' 7th 3-error game of the season. 1 of the 3 runs scored by Oklahoma has been unearned. But they get an opportunity here with Alo over at first after the Texas error. Here's Kinsey Hansen, who reached on an error by Washington in the 3rd. If you're in the circle when that's going on behind you, how difficult is it to block that out?
You know, in a game like this, it's hard, especially when you're not racking up a lot of strikeouts. You're not going to against Oklahoma. So when you get an out or a chance to have an out, and it doesn't go your way, not once, not twice, but 3 times, it starts to get a tad frustrating. Haley Dolcini gonna have to take a deep breath and just trust that at some point her defense is gonna come through for her. But it is frustrating, especially when you get someone like Jocelyn Alo to ground out and you're unable to make the play.
Hansen over to 3rd, Scott on to 1st. So the error does not come back to haunt Texas. However, this pitch does. Alyssa Brito making it 3-0 Sooners as we move on to the bottom of the 5th.
Make an adjustment to be able to barrel up balls or force the Oklahoma defense to make some plays.
Washington had been so good in the field before this recent stretch. Went 15 straight games without an error. Texas went on a huge winning streak. But now 5 defensive miscues in her last 8 games.
The plus side of that right now is the 2 errors tonight have not cost Texas a run. But Alyssa Washington has been a big staple for the Texas defense.
2-1 on the way from Ball. Swing and a miss. A familiar theme tonight.
Yeah, Ball just, she's pumping the upper 60s, low 70s. Texas just unable to catch up with the speed coupled with that drop ball movement.
Washington launches 1 foul. Texas came into this one averaging nearly 7 runs per game, 11th most in the nation. This Longhorns offense was top 3 in the country in hits and doubles, but they have been held at bay. Everybody talks about Oklahoma's impressive offensive numbers, but they overlook at times the pitching. It's the #1 ERA in the nation as a staff. .60. They've allowed just 17 earned runs all year.
And as a pitching person, Alex, I can say it's easy to overlook that when the offensive numbers are as high as they are for Oklahoma. You see .6 ERA, over 5.5 strikeouts per each walk, 21 shutouts. Easy to overlook that when you're able to say, well, yeah, you pitch with a 9-run lead almost every game, but it's still impressive for this pitching staff to be able to put up those numbers day in and day out, not have the mistakes that just cost a random run here and there in their contests. I was talking to Coach Gasso before the game, and she obviously had to make a pitching coach change when Melissa Lombardi took the job at Oregon after Coach White came here to Texas, talking about Jen Rocha and just what she has brought to the staff. And she said, you know, the transition was easy because Rocha played for me, but she's the calmest individual I know in the most stressful times, and she thinks that really has resonated with their pitching staff.
Mentioned she's really helped Hope Troutwine, who I'm sure we will see tomorrow, learn the finer points of pitching.
There you see Coach Rocha. I'll date her a little bit. I remember being able to go home, and my dad would have recorded on the VHS, of course, games that were on TV, and getting to watch her play when I was younger.
Called strike 3, strikeout number 7 on the night for Ball, 2 in a row. Jen Rocha would be proud.
Alyssa Washington battling in this at bat, but Jordy Ball just using a low rise ball right there in the zone. Washington caught off guard. First strikeout looking for Jordy Ball of the night.
So here's the only player who has a hit off of Ball tonight. Courtney Day singled in the 2nd inning. Meanwhile, Oklahoma has now gone 33 straight innings without giving up a run. 5.5 games.
As a pitcher alone, that's impressive. As a staff, that's impressive, because again, we talk about it, Alex. One pitch sometimes can obviously break that streak, and it can be a meaningless home run or just a meaningless double with a runner on second. But Oklahoma's staff being able to really execute every single moment of games just talks about how prepared they are and how focused they are on being able to be intentful with each pitch.
And we saw the last run they allowed was against UAB. Patty Gasso said that was a crucial series for them. She said, we weren't playing our best ball of the season. In her words, they were from a 1 through 10 playing at about a 6. She said that UAB series in which they got tested, there was a very close 2-0 game. UAB was using a lot of unorthodox defensive shifts that caught them off guard. She said, we went from playing about a 6 out of 10 on the year to now a 7 out of 10, which is a scary thought for any opposing teams around the country.
All right. You see their stats and you're going to assume that she would think they're 10 out of 10.
Swing and a miss, 3 consecutive strikeouts, 8 overall in the night by Ball.
Courtney Day just unable to stay with this rise ball. Texas going to have to be more disciplined, or they're going to just continue to eat. Jordy Ball is going to continue to force them to eat out of her hand, chase her pitches, because she's using that rise ball to her advantage right now.
9 straight retired by Ball. Here's Bella Dayton, and listen, Ball no stranger to facing tough offenses. Earlier in the year, she struck out 14 against UCLA. She allowed not a single earned run in that game in 7 innings. She struck out 16 against Tennessee, and against the 7th highest scoring offense in the nation, Kentucky, she allowed 1 run in 6 innings while striking out 12.
Yeah, the pressure situations are not unfamiliar to Jordy Ball. The big part of this series in this situation, Coach Gasso saying that it's probably one of the few environments that they're going to enter into where there are not majority Sooner fans. There's not a ton of people screaming Boomer Sooner, and it's an environment to where they're actually probably saying the reverse.
Yeah, I mean, besides Stillwater, this is probably the most hostile environment they're going to face all year. This is their first outing in Austin since 2019.
And really, with the fact of how much the Big 12 has shape-shifted over the years, it's taken some of those rivalries out. So Oklahoma has Oklahoma State and Texas. Texas pretty much only has Oklahoma after A&M exited for the SEC. So those rivalries and those environments are not as plentiful as they used to be.
Well, the official attendance for tonight, 1,498. Second highest in program history. Nearly 1,500 on hand here as Texas tried to fight back, trailing 3-0, getting out hit 3-1. And Jordy Bahl has been just tremendous in the circle for Oklahoma. And done it pretty efficiently, throwing far fewer pitches than Haley Dolcini, her counterpart.
Definitely been more effective in her pitch count.
One upstairs on Dayton, and the count goes full. All yet to walk a batter tonight. Texas has had 2 base runners, that is it. Mary Iacopo was hit by a pitch in the first inning. And Courtney Day singled in the second. Payoff pitch coming up to Dayton. And the first walk of the night issued by the freshman. And it's just the 19th walk of the season for Bahl.
Texas has some speed on the bases. See if Coach White's going to put them in motion. Maybe force a little bit of short game action with Alyssa Popelka up.
Popelka again came into tonight fresh off of 6 straight multi-hit games, but struck out in the third.
And we talk about the effectiveness of Jordy Bahl, Alex, and her pitch count of 75. 10 at-bats tonight have been 4 pitches or less. If you can get people out in 4 pitches or less, you are doing a lot right on the night.
Including a quick at-bat against Popelka in the third inning. And here in the 5th, it's evened up at 1. 22 pitches this inning for Bahl. An important spot right here. You can either end the inning or let the threat continue with Janae Jefferson coming up. Count now goes 1-2 to Popelka.
Popelka's going to have to hammer this ball into the ground or be able to shoot something by Johns at third base. Oklahoma has Snow shifted back at first base, opens up the whole front part of the infield, but they're pitching her away. So she's either going to have to try to pull something around soft and possibly beat it out, or put something in that 5-6 hole.
1-2, and she fools her again. Another strikeout of Popelka, and make it 4 strikeouts in the last 5 batters she's faced.
Washington, Courtney Day, Alyssa Popelka chases the drop. Jordy Bahl keeping Texas off the board.
Close battle here with Texas. Haley Dolcini back out for inning number 6, facing Grace Lyons. What do you make of Dolcini's performance so far tonight? She's only made a few mistakes. Obviously, they've been costly.
But yeah, you have to tip your hat. It's not a bad performance. 3 hits, 2 of those are home runs, unfortunately. But Dolcini been able to attack the strike zone, stretch the strike zone, get some mishits, and really, to be honest, just having to be the workhorse and the momentum maker for Texas right now. Coach White has to be happy with what his senior's doing. Possibly maybe take back the home run to Jada Coleman, but you can't be upset. Alyssa Brito went up and got the 2nd home run, so you have to tip your hat to the hitter there of just doing a good job with a rise ball.
It's a far cry from these matchups we've seen in recent history between these 2 teams. Last year, Oklahoma run-ruled Texas in all 3 games up in Norman. That Not much separating these two teams tonight. And Scott watches that one reach the stands. Oklahoma with 3 runs off just 3 hits, no errors. Texas, no runs, 1 hit and 3 errors. Patty Gasso's squad being held well below those numbers. All she cares about is coming up with the W.
She does, and talking to her in her interview this week, she just talks about how she wants them to continue to get better. Their job is to continue to fight to figure out how to put together as complete game as possible. And she knows there's going to be games like this. You're not going to put up 9 and 10 runs every game. You're going to run into All-American pitchers that are going to execute well against you. But she wants to see how her team responds to those, how they continue to fight throughout that game. So even if this isn't a run rule victory, she's going to have some positive thoughts on how they played.
That one is a foul ball. We asked her, we said, Coach, you're 36-0 to start the season, all these run rules, all these numbers are video game-like. How do you keep your team from buying into, as Nick Saban would call it, the rat poison, all the positive praise in the media? And she said, it's simple. We really don't care what anybody outside this program thinks. And she said, we don't mean that in a mean way. It's just nobody knows what we're going through. Nobody knows how much we test ourselves, the expectations, the intense practices. So nobody else matters when it comes to this team. Swing and a miss. Lyons goes down for the first out of the inning.
Haley Dolcini expanding up and out of the zone. We've seen her use that rise ball inside, this time using it outside a little bit. Texas taking a little bit from Jordy Ball's notebook, as she's used her rise ball outside a couple times tonight as well.
The senior transfer continues to battle out there. 3 strikeouts. Dolcini still yet to walk a batter. Facing now Taylon Snow with 1 away. Talked about her being a workhorse and throwing 450 pitches in her previous 5 outings. The good news for Dolcini, she had the last 10 days off after Texas had a bye last weekend, and she didn't pitch in their one game, their midweek game against UT Arlington.
Dolcini got some much needed rest. Coach White actually gave the team the weekend off altogether. A couple of them went home, able to relax, get their mind off of softball a little bit. He said he felt like they came back mentally and emotionally in a better spot.
I was wondering how they would handle that, having a week off, over a week, to think about facing the #1 team, the #1 offense in the nation.
Yeah, that bye week right there could be a blessing or a curse depending how your team responds. And Coach White said that. He said sometimes you give them that time off and you wonder how are they going to come back. There are times you give teams that much time off and they come back a little bit almost lackadaisical, too relaxed.
Did you like having a lot of time off before facing a tough opponent, or no, you don't want to overthink it, just let's play?
We never had bye weeks, so there was never really a chance for us to have a ton of time off. The only difference is we had 2 game series, so you played Saturday and Sunday, so it was pretty much 1 game a day. But you do like being able to be in a rhythm, have, you know, your weeks and your days kind of be able to, so to speak, be Groundhog's Day, to where you can get yourself in a routine and be able to mentally and emotionally be prepared every single day.
Pitch number 100 on the night by Dolcini is fouled off by Snow. 3 strikeouts, no walks, 3 runs, 2 of those earned. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio, 76 strikes. The strike to walk ratio, strike to ball ratio right there, and a couple of strikeouts too as well. This one hit to left center, charging in from left is Dayton on the grab. She makes the run. That wasn't the position she is most comfortable with at times in the outfield. She played a lot of right field at Arizona. It has started to become a steady fielder there in left, recording the out.
Yeah, the Texas outfielders playing relatively deep to respect Oklahoma's power, but Popelka and Dayton especially both very quick coming in. So going ahead and starting farther back, and we saw Bella Dayton make the long trek to come in.
Here's Jada Coleman laying down the bunt, trying to surprise Texas, and that one dropped by Simmons. That is the 4th error of the night for Texas.
Jada Coleman puts down a bunt pretty hard at Haley Dolcini. She has time to make the play, but Katie Simmons stretching out a little early, unable to come up with that throw from Dolcini. Coleman going ahead and extending the inning for Oklahoma.
Texas now with 53 errors on the season in 42 games. Here's Jana Johns. I mean, what does that come down to? Because we see it so frequently now, the miscues in the field.
Well, it comes down to 1, focus, and 2, being able to still perform under pressure. Texas knowing they're going to have to make plays because you don't want to allow big innings of Oklahoma. You still have to relax and actually allow yourself to make the play like you do in practice.
Now, fortunately for the Longhorns, despite having 4 errors, they've only allowed 1 unearned run. That came back in the first inning. They're trying to stay within striking distance of the undefeated Sooners. 1-1 to Jana Johns.
See Texas 15-9 when they're making more than 1 error.
Runner is going. Here's the throw over to second in time, and they got it. This is down to their last 6 outs. Here's Janae Jefferson leading off the 6th inning. Texas no stranger from rallying in games. They've had to come from behind to win their last 4 contests, and on the year, 12 come from behind victories. And 13 come from behind wins or ties. The largest deficit they faced was 7 against LSU earlier this season. Just 1 hit so far tonight for Texas. Jefferson sends one to center. There's hit number 2 for the Horns.
Janae Jefferson, the senior, making adjustments each at bat of this game. Takes this rise ball outside to center field. Leadoff hit for Texas, giving them some life and some energy here in the 6th inning.
One of the greatest hitters in Big 12 history puts Texas in business. Leadoff hitter reaches. Here's Mia Scott, the freshman, 0 for 2 with a strikeout against Ball. Scott came into the game on fire over her last 3 contests, hitting nearly 700 with 8 hits and 10 RBIs. Again, during those last 3 games.
Alex, we've talked about the fact that Texas has had speed throughout this season. However, I'm going to bet that Coach White's going to be a little bit conservative with the speed at this point in the game. Chasing 3 runs, as much as you want to score against OU, get 1 run if you can. You still need 3 in order to tie this ball game. So if runners go in motion, I'm going to guess it's with some type of offense behind it, a hit and run, a bunt and run, a slap and run off of Mia Scott's bat.
See if they do with Jefferson at first. And the 1-1 to Scott. Jordy Ball issued her first walk of the game in the last inning. And now just her 2nd hit of the night moments ago to Jefferson. 9 strikeouts through 5.
So far right now, Texas being able to be patient, attack pitches in the zone. Janae Jefferson and Mia Scott both being able to get the barrel to the ball. That low rise ball that's coming in about belt high.
Scott sends one to center field. Coleman looks up, it goes over her head. Jefferson racing around third. She'll retreat to the bag, and Texas will bring the tying run to the plate. After a double by Mia Scott, runners on second and third.
Texas adjusting to this rise ball, being able to stay on top of it. Jordy Bahl not stretching the zone as much as she did early in the game. Mia Scott drives that over Jada Coleman's head, and Texas is in business.
And a meeting in the circle right now, as Bahl suddenly has allowed 3 of the last 4 Texas batters to reach. A double by Scott, single by Jefferson, and a walk by Dayton towards the end of the 5th inning. For Texas, this is the hitter you want coming up. Mary Iakopo, top 3 all-time in Texas history in home runs, top 4 in runs driven in.
See Nicole May and Hope Trotwine both getting loose for Oklahoma. Trotwine, the senior transfer from University of North Texas. Nicole May, the pitcher who Coach Gasso said she was our saving grace last year. She came in some big situations and got some key outs and key wins for us. She won't hesitate to use either one of them if needed late in this game.
But they stick with Bahl. Here's Mary Iakopo, was hit by a ball pitch in the 1st inning and popped up in the 4th. Iakopo sitting on 148 career RBIs as a Longhorn. 4th most all time. An offensive machine throughout her career. With Texas on the year, has driven in 26 with runners in scoring position. Sends a dark foul. Quickly, it's 0-2.
We've talked about the poise of Jordy Bahl tonight in the circle, but I'm going to flip the script and you talk about Mary Iakopo and her ability to produce with runners on. Her poise in the box, she's always calm, she seems to be in control, knows what she's looking for. Right now, really able to control that barrel head, knows that all she needs to do is find the green and Texas can have 2 runs.
Hansen keeps that one in front of her.
Hansen checking her pitch calling card. I guess she didn't expect that pitch to be low in the zone, whether it was a misread by Bahl or herself.
Swing and a miss, and a huge strikeout for the freshman Jordy Bahl.
Well, if there's a time to use your changeup for the first time in the night, it's right now. She goes hard and in to Mary Iakopo for 2 strikes. Iakopo waits her out a little bit, but the first off-speed pitch of the night is right there. Iakopo not expecting it, way ahead of it. Big first out for Jordy Bahl.
Make it 10 strikeouts in the contest for Bahl. Here's Mackenzie Parker. Waves at that one.
Jordy Bahl says, oh, you like my changeup? I'm going to throw it back to back. Mackenzie Parker gets it for the first pitch of this at bat too. But that's also a sign of respect. Oklahoma noticing that Texas is starting to make adjustments and they're going to make a change in order to keep them off balance.
Parker is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and quickly behind 0-2. Bahl not messing around.
Big response by Jordy Bahl there. The strikeout of Iakopo and then getting ahead of Mackenzie Parker really quickly.
Mike White talking over the situation with Parker, who's been a clutch performer for Texas this year, drove in the tying run against Iowa State in the 7th inning of one of those Longhorns wins. Walked it off with a 2-run double against LSU with 2 outs earlier in the season. A few nights after that one, delivered a game-winning 2-out, 2-run homer against Texas State. So no stranger to pressure situations.
No, and Coach White and hitting coach Steve Singleton calling time, trying to slow the momentum down a little bit. Jordy Bahl got ahead of Parker very quick, 1-2. But also reminding her, you don't have to hit a home run here. Let's just extend the inning, find any way to get some good, solid contact.
Make it 11 strikeouts for Jordy Bahl.
Mackenzie Parker swung through a rise ball outside. Jordy Bahl doesn't have to change spots. Goes there again. Mackenzie Parker unable to lay off. Jordy Bahl 1 out away from ending this Texas threat.
We'll say Patty Gasso told us she thrives in pressure situations. In Coach Gasso's words, she is begging for pressure situations. Well, she got herself into one and 1 out away from working out of it. There is strike 1 to Katie Simmons.
And you see her stalking around the mound, continuing to move. She keeps herself in a strong mentality, just out there, never really slowing down, allowing herself to keep pace.
Simmons has already struck out twice, and she's behind 0-2. So Texas led off the inning with a single and a double. Since then, they have been unable to make contact with Bahl for the most part. The Oklahoma contingent on their feet here at McCombs Field.
Well, this is the type of response that you expect out of veteran pitchers, but Jordy Bahl is a freshman. This is a huge response for her.
And she strikes out the side. How about that? After giving up leadoff hits to the Longhorns and allowing the tying run to come to the plate, she strikes out Iakopo, Parker, and then Simmons. And Oklahoma remains ahead 3-0 as we...
Swinging, gets herself out of the toughest jam she's been in tonight so far.
And that is a heck of a freshman Patty Gasso has on her hands with Jordy Bahl.
She's going to be very fun to watch for the next 3 years.
Haley Dolcini, meanwhile, the 5th-year senior, trying to keep it a 3-run game, facing the 7, 8, and 9 hitters here in the 7th. Jenna Johns is 0 for 2. Dolcini gives up a long blast, but that one will turn foul. I was just about to say, she's given up the same amount of hits that Bahl has allowed. Just a different quality of hit, if you will. A couple of home runs there, as well as a run-scoring single.
Yeah, the biggest difference is the fact that all 3 of Oklahoma's hits have RBIs attached to them.
That's been the difference in this one. Dolcini 3 strikeouts. No walks and 2 earned runs allowed.
Dolcini's pitch count climbing up close to 110. Even though we talk about Alex physically, she's thrown more than that. I'm going to have to assume mentally she's probably a little exhausted going against this type of offense over and over. Because sometimes games like this, by the end of it, you're more mentally exhausted than you are physically exhausted, just continuing to battle pitch after pitch, knowing the power and the prowess that Oklahoma possesses.
There's no room to breathe facing this lineup. This is just the second 3-ball count of the night for Dolcini. That's a leadoff walk issued to Jana Johns. Don't forget, coming up after this one, spring volleyball gets underway. Texas taking on Baylor. See how these Big 12 foes match up on the spring side of the calendar. Again, that's coming up on LHN and the ESPN app. There will be a pinch hitter coming up, meanwhile, for Oklahoma. The redshirt senior Lindsey Elam takes the place of Riley Boone in the 8th spot in the batting order after Boone went 0 for 2. Elam, the 3-year captain and senior leader, she went yard twice against Texas last year. Quite familiar throughout her career with this Longhorns team.
Coach Gasso talked really highly about Elam and the fact that she's handled the role of going in and out of the lineup. Kinsey Hansen was injured for a while. Elam slid in, got on a hot streak, but just really been able to embrace her role, whatever it is, every single day. And a lot of times people will assume your captain is an everyday player, one of your stars, one of your studs. And in this case, it's really an athlete just continues to buy in every single day.
Fouls one off. Elam hitting .318. You look at Oklahoma's numbers, they're only 1 for 6 tonight with runners on. But the pitching has just been devastating. Too much to overcome for Texas so far. And that has been the story. As much as everybody wants to talk about Oklahoma's offense, their pitching has been just about untouchable this year. 0-2.
Yeah, you talk about their pitching, and Texas had 3 other base runners prior to Janae Jefferson and Mia Scott getting on. All of those though with 2 outs. Texas gets runners on 2nd and 3rd with no outs. And just Jordy Bahl limiting their capability of even being able to put the ball in play.
The 0-2 to Elam, and that one misses. Oklahoma trying to take down Texas for the 22nd consecutive time. Swing and a miss. Haley Dolcini with strikeout number 4 on the night.
Elam wasn't chasing the rise ball up and in, so Haley Dolcini extends it out a little bit. A curveball that's high in the zone, but Elam being overly aggressive. First out for Dolcini.
It's been a gritty performance from the senior Dolcini, up to 115 pitches, only 3 hits allowed. But Brito took one of them out of the yard in the 5th inning. Lisa Brito hitting nearly 800 in Big 12 play. This was her 8th home run of the season, number 102 on the year for Oklahoma as a team.
She just stayed up through that, and if you're Haley Dolcini, you know that pitch is ingrained in your mind, knowing she went up and got that. So if you're going to go up again, you have to get tighter, higher, try the outside part of the zone. You just can't duplicate that, knowing that Brito has confidence now in the upper part of the zone.
Chop back to Dolcini. Goes to first for the 2nd out. And we'll go back up to the top of the order.
Second baseman, Tiare Jennings.
So Johns moves on to 2nd. And here is Tiare Jennings in the leadoff spot. 0 for 2 and reached on an error to start off the game in the 1st inning. Later came around to score. Dolcini expecting the throw. This has been one of her best performances of the season that we've witnessed from Dolcini, trying to keep her team within striking distance.
Minus the 2 home runs, and again, that's something she's been susceptible for this year.
Jennings gives one a ride to left, but Dayton is there. And here we go, bottom of the 7th inning on the way. Against Iowa State, Texas came up with back-to-back walk-off wins for the first time since 2016, and they start off the 7th tonight with a base hit by Alyssa Washington. Jordy
Bahl throwing this drop ball, but that's right down the middle of the plate. Oklahoma knowing they need to throw strikes in order to be able to get Texas out, but that too good. And Alyssa Washington leading off for Texas, giving them a base runner.
And we'll say 4 of the last 8 Texas batters have reached against ball. Here's Courtney Day. Swing and a miss.
There's that off-speed pitch that Jordy Ball has pulled out now in the last 2 innings. Texas going to have to adjust, knowing she's throwing that, especially in hitters' counts right now. You know, it's interesting, Alex, Alyssa Washington's at bat. You watched Kinsey Hansen set up almost dead middle of the plate. And I understand as a pitching coach telling your freshman, hey, just attack the zone, but you still want to make sure you hit corners.
That one heading towards the stands. That'll be a long strike, 0-2. To Courtney Day. Day tied for the team lead in home runs with 8. She's been clutch as of late, driving in 8 runs over her previous 10 games. Meanwhile, Ball now to 100 pitches on the night. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 13 for Ball.
0-2 pitch right here, and Jordy Ball goes right at Courtney Day. Nice rise ball, tighten inside. Day can't lay off it, doesn't stay up with it. Great pitch right there by Jordy Ball for the first out of the bottom of the 7th.
A stellar outing from Jordy Ball. Here's Bella Dayton, walked in the 5th inning and grounded out in the 2nd. So Washington still over at first. Texas now out hitting Oklahoma 4-3. Oklahoma has been held to their fewest hits in a game this season tonight. Just 3 hits, 2 home runs, and a run-scoring single.
Fewest amount of hits, but still 3 runs. Just shows what their offense is capable of doing.
Dayton chases that one. Seems like every time Ball gives up a hit, she comes right back with a strikeout.
That's the sign of a competitor in the circle, though, Alex, is anytime you give up a hit, you almost get pissed off as a pitcher, and you go right at the next one with a vengeance. And we've seen Jordy Ball do that now in the last 2 innings, just respond in such an aggressive manner.
This is upstairs. Dayton delivered a walk-off hit against Iowa State in the 2nd game of that series. Game-winning double to bring home J.J. Smith in the 8th inning. Awaits the 1-2 here.
I liked Texas softball's social media after that walk-off from Bella Dayton. They had the Oprah gif of like, you get a car, you get a walk-off, you get a walk-off, you get a walk-off.
It's become a common theme for Texas this year. Again, 12 come from behind wins. Chasing number 13 here with 1 away in the 7th. That one gets away from Hansen, and Washington scoots over into scoring position. First wild pitch of the night for Ball. Locked in a battle with Bella Dayton. Last year with Arizona, At above 300, taking over this year. For Texas in the outfield, switching around between left and right, and has held the hot bat as of late over the past few weeks. Ball gets the best over there. The throw over to first. And the Longhorns now down to their last out of the night.
Jordy Ball continuing to use all three pitches, rise, drop, off speed. So impressive of the fact that she kept that off-speed pitch literally in her back pocket until the 6th inning when Texas was threatening with runners on. Pulled it out, able to throw it effectively after not having used it for the first 5 innings.
So it'll be up to Alyssa Popelka, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts tonight. Ball has fooled her this evening. With 2 away here in the 7th. Oklahoma trying to improve to 37-0 on the season. They're already off to the best start in NCAA history. Texas, meanwhile, looking to avoid their first loss in conference play this year.
I think the most impressive is this has been truly a matchup that you would expect out of a 1 and 2 seed in a conference race.
And the Longhorns down to their last strike. Ball has been absolutely magnificent tonight for Oklahoma.
The freshman has come into McCombs Field, an atmosphere that is obviously pro-Texas, something Oklahoma hasn't faced as much of, and just straight dominated so far.
And how fitting, she ends it with a strikeout. 15 Ks on the night. Oklahoma wins the series opener 3-0 over Texas.
An absolute masterful performance by Jordy Ball. 15 strikeouts. Most impressive, Alex, gave up back-to-back hits in the 6th, struck out the side. Gave up a leadoff hit in the 7th, struck out the side. Jordy Ball rose to the occasion when it mattered most.
Oklahoma improves to 37-0 on the year. On the arm of Ball. 3 runs off 3 hits.